I will now demonstrate creating a data synchronization task that uses the company name in the import file to look up an account in Salesforce and return the Salesforce ID so that the contact can be related to the correct account.
All right, so what I'm going to do is upsert some contacts from a SQL Server table, and let's take a look at that table. So my contact to table here from a SQL Server database, you can see that each contact record has a unique billing system ID, so that's going to be upserted to my external ID in Salesforce for the contact object. But what you don't see here is a foreign key, something relating this contact object to the account object in SQL Server. So I will need to use a lookup in order to tie these contacts to their appropriate accounts in Salesforce. And you can see that each contact row does have an account name attached to it. So I'm going to use that to look up the account ID. So I'm going to create a new data synchronization task. And again, this is going to be an upsert. And I'll select my contact to source object. And my target object will be my contact object in Salesforce. I'm going to skip over my data filter step and go to the field mapping step. And so on my source side, I'm going to map everything except for this last field here, account name, because account name is not an actual field on the contact object in Salesforce. So I'm going to map my billing system ID to my external ID field. And let me get some of these other fields mapped real quick. All right, so now I'm going to use this account name field to do a lookup on my account ID column on my target. So I'm going to use a lookup rather than the related objects feature, which we used in an earlier module where we had two related source objects. So I'm going to click my middle icon in the actions column to add a lookup, and I'll select my lookup connection and object. And again, this can be a third connection, doesn't have to be necessarily your source or target object. But I am going to do my lookup on Salesforce because I know I don't have a ton of data in there, so it won't be too labor intensive. And I'm going to next select my lookup field. So on the source side, from this list of fields, I'm going to select account name, and I want to find a match from my lookup object with the account name field. And if Informatica Cloud is able to find an exact match between source and lookup objects, the lookup object field that I want to return to the field is account ID. Okay, so I want to write account ID from the account object into my contact object account ID field to create that link between contact and account. So multiplicity, so this is just if Informatica Cloud finds more than one match, how do we want it to handle that? Do we want to return an error or randomly pick one output value? And then also you can use the output field in an expression as well. All right, so I'll go ahead and validate my mapping and run my task. All right, so my task completed successfully with 13 success rows. And if we come back over here to look at our table, so we have Janine Smith, Jack Parsons, and Joe Blackwell should be tied to the Tyco account. And if we look at our Tyco account, and we go to our list of contacts, we can see that Janine Jack Parsons and Joe Blackwell were indeed added and tied to the Tyco account in Salesforce.